Hey there, thanks so much for joining us. It's Brandon Shope here on NHCS TV. Joining me right now is Mr. Mark Clausen with the Vanderbilt County Schools Transportation Division. Sir, how are you doing today?
Hey, good morning, Brandon.
Yeah, it's good to see you, Mark. So tell me, sir, a little bit. We're going to talk a little bit about, the buses. I know that a lot of parents have questions, the entire community about, what things will look like once we get back to the, more in-person kind of school and things like that. Talk to me, sir, a little bit about what you guys are doing right now. I know that we're, in Plan C eventually. Hopefully, we can move into the, in-person once things with COVID kind of calm down a little bit. But obviously that's very uncertain. We just don't know when, that will happen. What are you guys doing right now to kind of prepare for that?
Well, so right now we're planning for a Plan B start after the first grading period ends. And what that means is we're going to be moving a third of the children each week to their schools, and which means every Monday we're going to be moving a different set of kids to school. So we've got our challenges. It basically triples our workload, which is okay, we'll manage it, we'll get there. But what we're waiting for at this point is the schools and the parents to tell us which section the children will attend and whether they want bus transportation or not. Once we get that indication, we'll start to put runs together. We're going to assign stops a little bit differently this year than we have in the past. What we're going to do is produce what we call community stops wherever we can. If we don't have to go into community, we won't. We'll ask the parents and the students to come out to the entrance to that subdivision. This will allow our buses to drive shorter runs, quicker runs. We're limiting the capacity on buses to 24 students, one per seat. So in doing so, that gives us the opportunity to do fewer stops, hopefully 2 or 3 only, get that bus to a school, drop those kids off, go right back out close to that same school and pick up a second set of children. This will improve our efficiency greatly. It also gives us the opportunity to have drivers on standby to cover for absences. And we've got a pretty good situation, but there are cases when drivers don't show up for work. They're either sick or they've got a sick child, a whole host of reasons why. This will give us the opportunity to cover those runs at a moment's notice so these kids will get to school on time every day. That's our goal going forward for this school year.
Yes, sir. Excellent. Now it sounds like you guys are, staying busy, obviously, with all of these changes. Talk to me, Mark, a little bit about some of the challenges, that COVID-19 presents when it comes to transportation.
So probably one of the biggest ones are the drivers are going to be doing a different run every Monday, and they'll do it for 5 days, and then they're going to do a different one for 5 days, and then the third time before they recycle. In doing so, allowing these community stops to be formed, it basically tells our driver, you go to that same stop each week, there'll be a different set of kids that will come to that stop, because in the parent portal, parents will be able to see which week their kids have transportation, which weeks they don't. So if there's no transportation, they're not going to school that week. But if there is, they'll get the alert that the school bus is within a certain distance of that stop. They'll have plenty of time to get to that location, get the kid on the bus. Again, I mentioned 1 kid per seat. We're doing that so in an effort to keep kids distance from one another. We don't want to spread COVID. And in between each run, we're going to be disinfecting the bus. We'll be wiping down high traffic areas, handrails, windows, seat belts, the seats themselves. As they walk through the bus, kids always grab the seats. So we're going to be wiping those down between runs. And then after the morning runs, we'll do a complete disinfection of that bus. We'll have an ionizer to go through that bus, every bus. And we'll do that again at the end of the day. So the buses are going to be thoroughly cleaned twice a day and in between runs. So the likelihood that our environment's going to contribute to the spread of the virus is going to be managed to whatever possible extent that we can.
You said there is an ionizer as well. I didn't even know that. That's excellent. Talk about that.
Yeah, so we've got 168 buses in our fleet. We're going to operate probably 136 of them this year. And so what that means is 136 buses twice a day. We're going to be going through, 200 and close to 272 buses that are going to need to be cleaned. We're going to have a staff of 6 people working in teams to go through one bus to the next. We're estimating 2 minutes per bus to go ionize the bus from back to the front. So it's an extra couple of hours of work on a set of our drivers just to do that alone. But we've got the equipment, we've identified the staff, we're ready to go once we come back to school. So just know that the buses will be disinfected twice per day per CDC guidelines.
Those big yellow buses will be safe and clean. You know, we're excited to you know, hopefully, you know, get back to the in-person school eventually here in the near future. In the meantime, you know, I know that a lot of the teachers and staff are doing wonderful things, and the kids will be getting, of course, a top-notch education, you know, remotely as well. Mark, my last question here for you, sir, is, you know, whenever it comes to the, you know, what parents can expect whenever they are actually at the bus stop. You know, I know we kind of talked a little bit about that. Is there anything you would like to let parents know, you know, just because I know things will look a little bit different?
Absolutely. The very first and most important thing is that the parents sign an attestation form and send it in to us. This only has to be done once throughout the year, and it basically indicates that the parent will be checking their child for symptoms and do a temperature screen at home. If we receive that document, that child will be able to come up on the bus without any questions. If we don't get it, we have to put the child through a battery of questions. If they don't pass the screen, they can't be let up on the bus. So the parents of particularly elementary school-aged children will need to remain at the bus stop, particularly if they haven't signed that attestation form. If they've signed it, the children are allowed to get up on the bus. And once they get to school, those children will be temperature screened before they are allowed to enter the building. So it's not necessarily going to take place on the bus, but when we get to school, and even here in transportation, our employees, every one of them get temperature screened and get asked a battery of questions before they're allowed to enter the building, because we don't want to be that source of contamination. And we certainly don't want, you know, children going into school buildings if they're not well.
Yes, sir, of course. Well, Mark, is there anything else you'd like to add? Maybe something I forgot to ask, or maybe I just left it out.
Well, we look forward to this school year. I mean, we really wish things would get back to normal and we could have a regular year, but knowing that we're going to be doing things differently here, I would just ask the parents, work with us, be understanding that our goal is to get your child to school on time every day. In order to do that, we're going to do things a little bit differently this year, but it's going to work out really well. It's going to be a team effort. We look forward to working with each and every parent and student that rides our bus.
Yes, sir. Fantastic. All right, Mark Coulson with the New Hanover County Schools Transportation Division. I know we'll be chatting with you more in the coming weeks and months. Thank you, sir, for joining us. We appreciate it.
Very good. You're welcome.